That's what's going on. It's a Two Fleek Show.
Climate risk. That's the cost, the
Two
risk.
Fleek Show. We
Not
out
being able
here.
to afford home insurance because of
It's the Two Fleek Show. It's the Two
and
Fleek
the
Show.
prospect of trillions of
It's
dollars
the
in
Two
property
Fleek
become
Show.
uninsurable is clearly a recipe, it seems to me, for market instability, both in the rental as well as the mortgage market. So my question, Chair Powell, is given these trends, how do you think the Fed and how do you think we should be thinking about the challenges that these events are going to pose to insurance markets and to the overall financial stability of the economy? I'm asking you to comment specifically on climate change because I understand my colleagues on the other side of the aisle see that as a political question. Um, it's more like what you see as the risk to financial stability here.
Quickly note that we don't
Here we go.
supervise insurance companies for the most part, but we're seeing the same thing, which is
Jerome Powell, who's the Fed,
pulling out
the head of the
certain
Fed,
coastal areas,
the Fed,
things like that, or areas where there are a
and
lot of fires. So
basically
what that is going
he
to
dictates a lot of the
fast forward 10 or 15 years, they're going to be regions
financial policy in the U.S. So
ATMs. They won't, the banks won't have branches and things like that. That's a possibility coming up down the road. It's not that the banks will stay there and keep making loans in the face of evidence of disaster, or that insurance companies will do right policies. They can cancel those policies every year.
Right.
So I think the risk is that they just won't be there and that people won't be able to get them. That's really the issue.
And it seems to me that that would be a massive source of instability in our economy overall if you were to see that kind of dramatic decline in ownership, um, home values, not to mention the disruption that would occur if people literally couldn't be in their homes anymore.
So I think it's going to fall. If that happens, it'll fall on homeowners and
Right.
residents, but it'll also fall on state and local governments. Which you see happening now, where they're stepping in states where insurance is going away. Private insurance, you're seeing states step in because they want those areas to remain prosperous. So I don't know that it's a financial stability issue, but it certainly will have significant economic consequences.
Well, certainly to try to figure out how to provide reinsurance as an example in the places where commercial insurance isn't available would be a massive impact on state budgets, to follow your chain of thinking. And I know in this committee I've heard some of my colleagues on both sides of the aisle talk about the challenges overall with flood insurance, just as an example, and the massive expense that would have for us as well. I raise this, colleagues, because I think that this is an important issue that we need to be paying attention to. I do think it has a fundamental impact on the overall health of our economy as we look not even down the road, but where we are right now. So I'm out of time. Thank you, Chair Powell. I have a question. You and I have talked quite frequently about my deep, keen interest in the Community Reinvestment Act, and I'll follow up with a question on that for the record.
Thank you, Senator Smith. Senator Haggerty?
Thank you, Chairman Scott. Chairman Powell, it's good to see you here today. Welcome. I want to start by talking to you a bit about markets and inflation. Less than 6 months ago, you expressed some serious concerns about labor market weakness and risk of persistent inflation. But since then, the FOMC has begun its easing cycle and cut its target rate by 100 basis points, as you mentioned in your opening remarks. Now, in the January meeting, the FOMC has telegraphed that it felt both the labor market and inflation have reached a point where you're comfortable maintaining its target range. And my question is this: the recent market data, including last week's strong jobs report, indicate that the economy is on firm ground. Indeed, swaps markets have begun to price in fewer and fewer cuts this year. And I just wanted to talk broadly about these market conditions that you see. Do you see evidence of a higher neutral rate emerging at this point?
Yes, let me say there was a lot of reason to be concerned about downside risk in the labor market toward the middle of this year, but really that concern has diminished significantly. Labor markets were very strong. I think the evidence is, my own view,
is America or tactics? It means that America will be dominant again.
yes, I think it's moved up.
Now, why do I say this? I say this purely because
I'd like to
America
turn
is at a
now to
point where
what seems to be a very
they
common
realize they messed up
at this point. That's the CFPB.
and they became too much of
Senator
a
Britt's question earlier,
donation state,
that when the CFPB
helping the
supports
rest of the
funding request,
world, which is
the Fed
good,
is
but
not in a position to exercise
it
any
made people
discretion
take them
with what the
for
budget
a
needs to do.
ride.
Is that correct?
Let me paint you a picture. Have you ever given someone, your friend or your
It
family,
just
money
strikes me that the Fed is not in a position
and they could
to
never pay
hold
you
the
back?
CFPB accountable for
But you saw them
what it
enjoying
does and
life,
how it spends its
going
money.
for holidays, and just
Congress hasn't been allowed to
having the
hold the
time of their
CFPB
lives
accountable for
while
what
not
it
paying you
does and
back.
how it spends its money.
And then later, after
We've
these
been able to hold the
holidays, they
CFPB
come to you, I need
accountable
money for
at
rent or
all.
whatever, whatever.
And now I
And
hear
you give them the money.
complaints coming from
And then the
every
same
corner
cycle continues.
from the other
They
side.
go for
Complaints
holidays,
about the
they don't pay
excessive
you back.
delegation of authority
And
to a
you,
Republican
being
CFPB
the
director
good
when I think
person
this
that you
entity
are,
was intentionally
you
created
continue to
to
help
be
them. And what
more
happens?
responsive to
They
a
never
closer
ever pay
baseline
you
like
back.
yours. Before I
So I
close,
think
I'd
at
like to
this point, US is
to
at a turning
point
point
on
or
my
transition
findings,
in their foreign policy.
in
And a
particular
lot of
the
us are going to
Fed's
pay for
forays
it.
into climate activism that have taken place
So
over these past
when
few
I
years,
look at that,
the recent
I think
retrenchment of
America
members.
is playing a
It's one
negotiating
thing for the Fed
tactic.
to
I
disassociate
think the
from its
tariffs are
climate
just
activism
purely
from
to
climate
say,
change,
look,
but to
we will
correct one
not be
claim
taken for a
that is
ride
forced itself on
anymore.
partisan foreign
Everyone's going to
policy.
pay their fair
The Fed
share.
needs to do more than just
And
interest
whether
rates.
we
It needs to
like it or
actually
not,
manage
I think the
climate policy.
US doing that
The
will
Fed's
make all
interference
of
in
us
politics is a
get a
headline
bit more
topic at the moment,
stronger,
of course,
a
along
little
with
bit
potential external pressures on the
more
Fed. I think it's
independent,
also
more
critical that we scrutinize
realizing that we
how the
cannot
Fed's use
rely
of
on other
regulation as a
countries
division
and start
might be
producing and
utilized in
becoming
some way to
productive
politicize the
nations.
institution.
So we
It's
must
no
take this
pranks
as a
raised from its
good
mandate by
sign
embracing
that
partisan
it
climate policies.
encourages us to start focusing on developing our nations and making our communities and countries stronger. So, whether you like Trump and Elon or not, by them doing this, this is helping all countries to wake up and start working,
The Fed
start
employs itself in
making
controversial
their countries
neighborhoods
more
and
productive,
invites the
start
discord of
pushing
history.
for innovation and
Such
creation in
urged
your
the Fed
own
to
countries.
refocus entirely
So
on
that's how I
statutory
decide to look at it.
mandates.
I
I know
look at
it's a
it
commitment
as a
that you made
positive
last year.
to push and grow and build my country and
Thank you.
my
Is that going on?
companies and whatever.
Thank
So
you very much,
take this as a
Chairman
good
Scott, and welcome again, Chairman
way to push your
Powell.
country forward.
I want to echo the words of Ranking Member Warren and so many of my colleagues today on DOGE and Project 2025's illegal attack on the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Certainly, the Bureau was not created to be dismantled. And since its inception, the CFPB has been the only federal agency solely dedicated to protecting Americans' wallets and pocketbooks from scammers and predatory companies in financial services. The CFPB reduced costs for Americans, returning more than $21 billion to Americans who've been cheated since its inception. I want us to focus on that as folks are talking about chasing after waste and fraud and abuse. The CFPB has returned more than $21 billion to Americans.
See how
Make
this
no
guy is
mistake, this
deflecting
attack
from
on
the
the
actual
CFPB
fraud.
will increase
Why
costs
does
for
he not talk
Americans,
about it, all
give
the
the green
fraud?
light to fraudsters and predatory actors
Because
seeking to cheat
Elon and Trump are
hardworking
exposing
Americans.
all the fraud, these guys don't
So,
answer
Chairman
the
Powell,
question and they
thousands enjoyed the
shift
so-called
to a different topic.
political
It's
strike
quite
zone near
interesting.
my office.
It's quite interesting to
Many
watch
are
both
harmed
sides. But right
by an
now, I'm more
unelected
focused on what
billionaire
Elon and
and
Trump
his
is doing
tax-rich
because
neighbors' attempts to
what
access
they are doing
Americans'
is
private data
causing people
and
to
the Treasury Department's systems that control $6 trillion
question authority,
in annual
question
payments to
agencies that
millions of
we
American
don't
citizens
know, we don't have
for Social
transparency
Security,
with.
Medicare, and tax refunds.
So
Quickly,
it's
let me
good that this guy is
if
saying this
Elon
stuff
Musk
because we
or
need to see
members
more.
of his team, to your knowledge, attempted to access the Fed's protected data and systems? Yes or no?
I don't
To your
believe so.
knowledge.
I don't believe so.
Okay, so will you commit to report to this committee, majority and minority, immediately should you become aware of any such attempt by Elon Musk or Doge to pierce the Fed's independence or to access its protected systems?
Yes.
Thank you for that commitment. The Fed's latest monetary policy report states that the tight labor market has allowed employment and earnings gaps between black and Hispanic Americans and white
The race
Americans
card.
to narrow.
There we go. That's what I
So I
wanted to
ask you
see.
that
I just knew
you
he
give
was going to go on the
understand the
race card.
disparities
You can
in
just see
employment
these type
and
of
wages by
politicians.
sex,
They
race,
always push
ethnicity,
the
and
race
education
card.
have narrowed.
And in South Africa, we
Under the
have the
Biden
same.
administration, some gaps have reached
Anytime someone
historic
uses the
lows.
race card
Specifically,
in
the
economical debate or a financial
and
debate,
white workers
you
gain
just
the
know
least,
you are going nowhere
lowest
fast.
in almost 50
And
years. That is the economy
that's just what
that
happens.
the Trump
Sadly,
administration
this stops
is inheriting.
growth, this stops
A
economy growth,
historic low
this
in
stops
almost 50 years. Chair
innovation
Powell, as you
creation
work to
because
promote
when you
maximum
focus on
employment, what
identity
steps will the
politics,
Fed take to ensure that
unfortunately,
these
it
equity
is
gains are
the
permanent?
inevitable cause of
The best thing we can do,
destruction and
obviously,
declining
it's both of our
communities.
mandates really, because as you well know, high inflation hits people at the low end of the income spectrum first and most. And in addition to that, we know that the benefits of a strong labor market over time can be really visible and important in those communities as well. So we pursue our mandate, we keep our heads down, and it works out that that is the single best thing we can do to foster, closing those gaps.
You pursue your mandate, you want to make sure that it's working. Would you agree that we still need good equity data to continue to narrow and close those gaps by race and gender?
I do think we're always going to be in favor of good data at the Fed, and we actually we do quite a bit of that data on our website.
But if we don't have equity data, it'd be difficult to know, right?
Yes.
I'm glad to hear you still believe in the value of good equity data for economic policy making. It's better to fly with the data than to fly blind. I'm not sure what's so controversial about the data. And while I was disappointed to hear that the Federal Reserve, which is
You
independent,
see how he's shifting the facts,
scrubbed a diversity and inclusion section from its website
adding
after
race
President Trump
to a
executive order,
certificate
while also scrubbing
because of
data on the
what
racial,
he
ethnic,
says
and gender
so
makeup of its
called
economists
data
and researchers. I hope that you will
enables
continue to ensure that the public has
people
good data on how our
to
economy is
focus
working
on
and not just
identity
for
over
historically
merit, over
marginalized Americans. I
quality.
also hope you will
This is
reconsider
really
your
silly.
decisions
But
around the whitewashing
that's
of the
his
website.
job to
Chair
be
Powell, as
there.
we think about the
That's
value
how
of
these
protecting data on the black and white wealth
politicians
gap and
always
employment gap, I think it's important to
push
understand how
race
policymakers
identity
can interpret
politics
this data. Historically,
because they like
what
to
you've
rile
seen
up
in
people
data
and cause
historically,
division,
what types of
which
economic
stops
events have
growth and
caused the black and
makes
white
politicians
wealth
richer.
gap or employment gap to widen?
Well, high inflation, downturns, you see generally just take the black unemployment rate. It generally moves at twice the speed of the white unemployment rate. So when it goes up faster. When it comes down faster. But there is, at the end of the day, there's always been a gap, and we want to run a strong labor market, and we target overall labor market conditions for maximum employment. But one of the benefits of that is that gap comes down.
Thank you so much. We all know that fully deregulating our financial regulators like the CFPB, firing bank examiners at the FDIC, or weakening the Fed's supervisory capacity makes an economic shock or recession more likely. We know that this disproportionately impacts black and Hispanic workers, and there are real consequences to weakening and eliminating financial regulations that keep us safe. Working people are the ones especially who suffer. So thank you so much, and I look forward to continuing to work with you to close these gaps.
Senator Banks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chair Powell, thank you for presenting your report to the committee today and for coming to meet with me last week in my office as well. The Federal Reserve has enormous power over Americans' ability to work and earn a living. And the Fed's interest rate decisions have an especially big impact on industries like manufacturing, which depend on big investments. Chair Powell, the Fed's data on manufacturing is still holding up nationally, but it doesn't look very good in the Chicago region, which includes most of my state in Indiana. The Beige Book says manufacturing jobs are declining and fewer people are buying manufactured products. It also says that steel demand is at a low level, auto production is slowed, and machinery orders are down. What does that say about the rest of the country? When manufacturing in the heartland slows, does that signal trouble for industries in other parts of the country?
It can. It doesn't always, but it certainly can. We watch the manufacturing sector. It's very important. Manufacturing jobs tend to be high productivity jobs. They're very important in our economy. But I would say over the last couple of years, manufacturing was pretty weak during years manufacturing is a smaller proportion of the economy than it used to be. It's still extremely important.
Senator Reid asked you why free trade doesn't work when one of the giant players doesn't abide by the rules. The China shock is proof of that. The Fed has a mandate to maximize employment. How do you account for the whole industry that is repeatedly suffocated by unfair competition?
You know, we don't do trade policy. We're not responsible for it. We don't comment on those who do trade policy. So, but you know, so we don't really have a role in focusing specifically on that. That really is left to those who have responsibility over trade.
Do you agree that a healthy manufacturing economy is important to a healthy overall U.S. economy, though?
I do.
I hope you had an opportunity to read Robert Lighthizer February 6th essay in the New York Times. He explains why a big trade imbalance between any two countries is harmful to citizens in both of those countries. How does the Fed take the trade deficit into account in your decision-making at all?
Again, we really don't. You know, we're aware of it, but it's not something that directly affects our mandate goals.
So
See, these are some good questions. I don't know who this guy is, but manufacturing is so crucial. A productive nation is important.
It's no secret that most
Regardless of where you're from, or your color, or whatever,
but I want
we
to
need to be a productive nation and grow. Manufacture stuff.
With the 2018-2019 tariffs. Even though the economist's conventional wisdom is that tariffs will reduce jobs, do you commit to following the data and not prejudge any outcome?
Very much so, as we did in 2018-19.
Finally, my staff reviewed the research paper on tariffs in preparation for this hearing, and I want to point out one of them called The Employment Consequences of U.S. Trade Wars. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to enter this paper for the record. It found that the timing of tariffs are very important. It found that China's retaliation to President Trump's tariffs did hurt U.S. jobs, but if the U.S. had imposed tariffs on China much earlier in the 90s and early 2000s, it would have almost completely eliminated job losses due to the China shock. And I know you've said what you said before, but will you and your staff please take a look at this paper?
We certainly will. I imagine we already have, but I'd love to see it.
Appreciate that. Home ownership is an essential part of the American dream, but families are struggling to afford homes. In just 5 years, the price of a typical home in Indiana has gone up more than 60%. More than 3/4 of American families can't afford an average home in their neighborhood. How do the Fed decisions about monetary policy affect the ability of regular families to buy a home?
Most of what will have driven that increase will be about some of it's about local regulation, as you I'm sure know. It's also about just wages going up and costs of materials and things like that going up, and land costs and all that are going up a lot. The channel that
American people, specifically those working paycheck to paycheck, have more opportunities to succeed, not fewer. You have said that the Fed is not against innovation, and banks are perfectly able to serve crypto customers as long as they understand and can manage the risks. Yet you have admitted that the threshold has been a little higher for banks engaging in crypto activities. Last week, I held a hearing on debanking and once again heard that federal banking agencies, in particular the Fed, use reputational risk as a tool to encourage the debanking of certain legal industries and law-abiding citizens for political reasons not tied to safety and soundness. Debanking is a top priority for this committee, and it certainly is for me, and one that I believe is a bipartisan issue. Will you commit to working with this committee to end debanking, including working with the new Vice Chair of Supervision, once appointed, to revise the Federal Reserve supervision manuals to remove reputational risk as a tool to weigh in on political topics?
I'm happy to make that commitment.
Thank you, sir. Accountability is very important. I would like to think accountability is a priority for everyone, especially the Fed, given that failures in Fed supervision can result in the loss of billions of dollars. Yet following the failure of the Silicon Valley Bank, which was in part due to the failures of its regulators to identify egregious mismanagement of interest rate and liquidity risks, we have yet to see any regulators be held accountable. And as you all that was the point of my frustration. As a guy who's spent a lot of time in the private sector, 15 years running a few businesses, I can tell you that accountability is a necessary part of making the entire organization healthier and perform its job as well as possible. I'm encouraged that the FDIC has begun the process of holding SVB executives accountable. That's good news. But no Fed employee has been fired, put on probation, put on performance improvement plan, all of which would be expected in the private sector, such as pension or employee failure. Please explain to me why Fed employees are held to a different standard from my perspective than everyone else, and what are you planning to do to take accountability for Fed failures in supervision?
So we've actually done quite a lot in response to the events associated with Silicon Valley Bank. So we've done many, many things. In terms of specific accountability, what we found was this was not a case of malfeasance or nonfeasance so much. It was a case of people were carrying out a specific playbook that failed to cause us to act in time for these things. It wasn't actually particularly fair to the employees to say you violated our practices in some way. That wasn't really what happened. What happened was, I would say, a lot of focus on process and on governance and controls, and not enough focus on basic bread and butter banking, credit risk, liquidity risk, interest rate risk, things like that. So
That's a good question.
we took very substantial steps to avoid further spread of
So
those
the
issues.
people
That was
who
successful, but
could
I
have
understand your point.
seen the bank fail
This is one of the areas
did
where
not
I
do
see
anything.
the approach to looking at safety and soundness and the number of MRAs that went really documented, but no action was taken. That leads me to the conclusion that individual employees, supervisors, should have been held accountable for that. I'll move on though. In the past, you've supported tailoring regulations so that we ensure banks of different sizes thrive and to preserve our diverse banking system. Will you commit to working with me as chairman to make sure that financial regulations do not impose more burden than is necessary? I'll say that this comes after a number of conversations with community banks and regional banks that have continued to stress that the cost of the regulatory framework around them isn't just harsh, it's oppressive. Larger banks suggest that the cost per employee for the regulatory framework is $10,000 per employee. I think we can do better. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
First of all, I will commit to working with you on that. We do try to avoid excessive burden. I think it's fair to take a fresh look on, frankly, on debanking. I think we all see, both on your hearing and on the one on the House side, we hear a lot of people talking about that. And, it's time to take a fresh look, I think. We don't intentionally do these things, but sometimes regulation leads things to happen, and we need to be working on that.
I appreciate that, and I'll turn over to the ranking member. I'll say this, that after having a number of conversations with CEOs of banks around the country, one of the things that was made clear to me with specific statement from these CEOs is that the regulatory OCC and other regulatory agencies said specifically to debank certain industries. And that is the point that I'm making, and one that I think we have to solve. If it's legal in America to do business, we should do our part to make sure that they're banked.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, that was good. Now let's have some fun. Oh, I saw that. I wanted to share it with you guys. This is absolutely amazing. This is absolutely amazing. Have a look at this, guys. Come on now. That's amazing, man. That's amazing. Cleopatra, come on now. Celebrity sightings at the 2024 Super Bowl. Leonardo DiCaprio. This guy, what's his name? Jeff Goldblum. The Gold Bridge. Jeff Goldblum. Yeah, Gold Blue. Beavers? JB. Justin. Martha Stewart. Martha Stewart. That's sad.
America was founded on an idea of freedom. America's always stepped forward in time of need throughout our short but powerful history.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Tear down this wall.
We've been there for all of it.
Second plane hit the tower.
Our heroes are humble. They have an inner pride to keep this idea alive. Protectors are born, they're not made. America's Secret Service protecting this Super Bowl is asking a few more to step forward. America was founded on an idea of...
Makes you want to sign up. Makes you want to sign up.
Get your hand-me-downs.
Wow. That's amazing. That's funny. Okay. That's funny.
Tell the truth is the best thing that could happen, no matter how it looks to you. That's a statement of faith. Now, there's an alternative statement, which is, oh, no. I'll say something and there'll be a consequence, and I'll have faith that that consequence is the defining feature of that utterance. I said something, I got in trouble, therefore I shouldn't have said it. It's like, well, what if you get in trouble, but like 3 weeks later, everything's way better for you? Christ, like, it's not like there's any shortage of things like that in life. That's what work is. Work is, I'm going to do this thing now that's difficult so that something better will happen in the future. The other thing you have to understand, and this is a good thing for young men to understand, is you're going to pay one way or another. There's no way out of that. So choose your method of payment. If you choose the proper method of payment, the price you pay is one you would pay happily. Whatever happens to you when you tell the truth is the best thing that could happen, no matter how it looks to you. That's a statement of faith. Now, there's an alternative statement, which is, oh, no. I'll say something and there'll be a consequence, and I'll have faith that that consequence is the defining feature of that utterance. I said something, I got in trouble, therefore I shouldn't have said it. It's like, Well, what if you
Okay.
get in trouble, but like 3 weeks later,
Okay.
everything's way better for you?
What?
Christ, like, it's not like there's any shortage of things like that in life. That's what
Sorry
work
about
is.
that, guys. I
Work
had a
is,
phone
I'm
call.
going to do this thing now that's difficult so that something
Maybe
better
to
will happen
answer
in the
the
future.
phone.
The other thing you have to understand, and this is a good thing for young men to understand, is you're going to pay one way or another. There's no way out of that. So choose your method of payment. If you choose the proper method of payment, the price you pay is one you would pay happily. Whatever happens to you when you tell the truth is the best thing that could happen, no matter how it looks to you. That's a statement of faith. Now, there's an alternative statement, which is, oh, no. I'll say something and there'll be a consequence, and I'll have faith that that consequence is the defining feature of that utterance. I said something, I got in trouble, therefore I shouldn't have said it. It's like, well, what if you get in trouble, but like 3 weeks later, everything's way better for you? Christ, like, it's not like there's any shortage of things like that in life. That's what work is. Work is, I'm going to do this thing now that's difficult so that something better will happen in the future. The other thing you have to understand, and this is a good thing for young men to understand, is you're going to pay one way or another. There's no way out of that. So choose your method of payment. If you choose the proper method of payment, the price you pay is one you would pay happily. Whatever happens to you when you tell the truth is the best thing
Tell
that
the
could
truth.
happen. No matter.
Tell the truth.
Sex outside of marriage is a sin according to the Bible. Not because God doesn't want you to have a good time. It's a sin because of what it does to you psychologically, what it does to your future marriage. And many of our sociologists and psychiatrists are now coming to say that that is true, the sense of guilt that it leaves. But the Bible says, thou shalt not commit adultery. And after your marriage, and you commit this sin, the Bible says it's one of the 7 deadly sins and one of the worst sins that you can commit before God. And the Bible says it hardens your heart toward God more than any other sin. If you're living that kind of a life, you can almost put it down. You're not going to come to Christ because you harden your heart. It's possible to come to Christ. It's possible to come and ask His forgiveness and He will forgive you. But your heart hardened, and it's hard for you to have a relationship to God. But if you tonight are willing to turn from that sin and give it up, willing to break off that relationship that God condemns, Christ died on the cross for your sins, and you can find forgiveness, and you can put your
Forgiveness,
life back
wow.
together again with God's
How
help.
many of you
He will forgive you.
find it hard to forgive?
You can leave here as clean and as
How
pure
many of
as
you
though you had never committed
are still
sin.
holding on to
Sex outside
certain
of
things that
marriage
happened
is a
5
sin
years ago,
according to the
10
Bible.
years ago,
Not
20
because
years ago,
God
when
doesn't
you were
want to
born?
have a good time. It's a sin
Is it holding you
because of
back?
what it does to you
Is it
psychologically, what it does to your
stopping
future
you
marriage.
from
And
moving
many of our
in a
sociologists
direction
and
where
psychiatrists
you
are
can
now
get to
coming
your
say that
purpose
that is
quicker?
true. The sense of guilt
The
that it
fact
leaves.
that you are
But the
watching
Bible
this
says,
video
"Thou
right
shalt
now
not
and
commit
listening to
adultery."
me
And after your marriage,
means
and
God
you
still
commit
has a
this
plan
sin,
for your
the
life,
Bible says it's one
still
of the
has a
7
purpose.
deadly sins
You can do
and one of the
great
worst sins that you can
things.
commit before God. And the
Forgive,
Bible says it
love,
hardens your heart
move
toward
forward.
God more than any other sin. If
Do you have a soulmate? Define that. Somebody who challenges you. I'm talking about someone who opens up things for you, touches your soul. You'll never have that kind of relationship in a world where you're always afraid to take the first step because all you see is every negative thing 10 miles down the road.
You've never looked at a woman and been totally vulnerable. Known someone that could level you with her eyes. Feeling like God put an angel on earth just for you. Who could rescue you from the depths of hell. And you wouldn't know what it's like to be her angel. To have that love for her be there forever. Through anything.
Do you have a soulmate? Define that. Somebody who challenges you. I'm talking about someone who opens up things for you, touches your soul. You'll never have that kind of relationship in a world where you're always afraid to take the first step because all you see is every negative thing 10 miles down the road.
You've never looked at a woman and been totally vulnerable. known someone that could level you with her eyes. Feeling like God put an angel on earth just
Good
for you.
movie.
Who could rescue you from the depths of
Good
hell.
words of wisdom.
We shouldn't have competition in games. It's like you want competition in your marriage of the right sort. It's like Eve means we're the adversary. We're the adversary in play. That's a good way of thinking about it. Your partner in your marriage, you can think about that as a long-term game, is someone you want to contend with, right? You don't want them to be a pushover. You want them to encourage you in your best. If you're playing a game with someone, pick up basketball one-on-one. You don't want to play with someone you can just demolish. You want to play with someone who's maybe a little better than you, because then you get better as you play. You want that competition built in. And when you say you should treat people like you'd want to treat them, you have to think about, well, how would you want to be treated if you were treated the way that would be best for you? Well, you don't want people to excuse every stupid thing you do. You want people to hold you accountable and to keep you on the straight and narrow and to encourage you when you're doing difficult things. And like that's that reciprocal love. It's not being nice to other people. It's way more
Jordan
complicated,
Peterson
sophisticated than that.
really has
Definitely.
an interesting
You want to be
mind
sharp, 'cause there's things you're
that
gonna have to cut through.
makes
We shouldn't
people
have
question
competition in
and
games.
think
It's like
their
you want
mindset,
competition in
whether
your
you
marriage
like him
of the
or
right
not.
sort. It's like
You
Eve
have to
means we're the
be
adversary.
smart
We're the
enough or
adversary in
open
play.
enough to
That's a good way of thinking
understand
about it.
what
Your
he's
partner in
trying
your
to say
marriage, you
here.
can think about that as a long-term
He's
game,
trying to
someone you want
say
to contend with, right? You don't want them to be a
little
pushover.
bit of
You want them to encourage you in your best.
what's
If
the
you're playing a
word?
game
A little
with someone,
bit
pick
of
up basketball one-on-one.
a
You
little
don't wanna play with
obstacle
someone you can just
is not the end of
demolish.
the road.
You want to play with someone
A
who's
little
maybe a little
hardship
better than you,
is not a bad
because then you
thing.
get
It
better
could
as
help you to
play.
grow.
You want that
It could help
competition
you
built
to
in, and
be
when you say
better,
you should treat
do
people
better,
like you'd want to treat them,
and
you have to
grow
think about, well,
together.
how would you want to be treated
So,
if you were treated the way that would be
Jordan
best for
Peterson
you?
is
Well,
really,
you don't want
really,
people to excuse every
really,
stupid thing you
really
do.
someone
hold you
who
accountable and
has
to
inspired
keep
a
you on the
whole
straight and narrow
generation
and to
of
encourage you when you're
wise,
doing difficult things. And
critical
like that's
thinkers,
that
which is good.
reciprocal love. It's not being nice.
It's good. Overall, it's good.
A little boy who saved his little sister from a vicious dog attack. The actors who play movie superheroes are now his biggest fans.
Bridger Walker needed 90 stitches after saving his sister from a vicious dog attack.
The nightmare happened when Bridger and his 4-year-old sister Brielle were playing in a friend's backyard. Suddenly, a German Shepherd mix lunged at them, first targeting the little girl. Without missing a beat, Bridger jumped in, and the dog dug its teeth right into Bridger's cheek.
Bridger said I stepped in front so that Brielle couldn't get bit, and I yelled for her to run. And I said, why'd you do that, buddy? And he says, Dad, if somebody had to die, I'd rather it be me.
A little boy who saved his little sister from a vicious dog attack. The actors who play movie superheroes are now his biggest fans.
Come on,
Bridger
boy.
Walker needed 90 stitches after saving
That's what I'm
his
talking
sister
about.
from a vicious dog attack.
This is the type
nightmare
of
happened
men
when
that
Bridger
need
and
to
his
be
4-year-old
great.
sister Brielle were
Come on.
We're not built for comfort. And that's good because life isn't comfortable. So if we're built for comfort, we're in real trouble. We're built for adventure, and on adventure, that's dancing playfully on the edge. And you might say, well, why? It's well because that's where
Adventure.
you make yourself more than you are. And you can contend with
Adventure.
the challenges of life. Like, you don't want your child to sit around doing nothing on the couch because all their needs are met. It's like you're going to say, it's like, what are you doing sitting on the couch there? It's like, get out there and what? And do something. Have some fun. Make some friends. Take some risks, like intelligently. And then when you see your child pushing himself or herself beyond their current limits, if you're a parent that loves them at all, you're thrilled about that. It's
Adventure.
not because they're safe. It's the same
Let
with your
them
partner,
push.
your husband,
Push
your
for
wife.
an
You
adventure.
wanna
Are
see
you
them on
ready
the
to
edge,
accept the
transforming
adventure?
into the person
Are
that
you
you
ready
love?
to
'Cause when you love
accept
them, you
the
see what they
challenge
could be.
of
We're not
doing
built
great
for
things,
comfort.
of
And
building,
that's good, 'cause life
of
isn't
working
comfortable.
together
So if we're
and
built for
growing?
comfort, we're in real trouble.
It's
We're built
really
for
important to
adventure, and on
realize
adventure,
what
that's
we can
dancing
do.
playfully on the edge. And you might say, well, why? It's well because that's where you make yourself more than you are, and you can contend with the challenges of life. Like, you don't want your child to sit around doing nothing on the couch because all their needs are met. It's like,
Will you accept the challenge?
Stress is mine, happiness is yours. Pain is mine, joy is yours. but you are mine. I suffer, and you get the good side of my suffering, but you are mine. And that's the masculine essence in the first place. That's what men are supposed to do. Stress is mine,
Yeah.
happiness is yours.
Gotta go
Pain
through the
is mine,
stress
joy is
to
yours.
overcome and become great.
So you're telling me that a woman has to go work like a man every day, and a man goes work and he's tired when he gets home. A woman's not tired. She has to clean, cook, do the dishes, do the laundry. Are you kidding me?
Why don't you want to do that?
What are you talking about? Why don't I want to? You know
Pause.
how fucking tiring that is? Have you done that?
First of
Have you
all,
done that?
I do it every day.
First of all, do not choose a woman who don't want to be a woman.
So you don't want to be a
pause.
woman.
I just
No,
let you
don't
talk.
want to
I
be
just
a
let you
woman.
talk. Yelling doesn't mean you're winning an argument. It's a sign of low intelligence. You can lower your voice and speak to me. I'm sitting right here. I can hear you. So all this, I cook and I clean and yeah, that's part of your function. But when your tire is flat, my function is to make sure you have a new tire.
But
when
that's
your
what
car
I'm
need an
saying.
oil change, it's my job to make sure these people ain't ripping you off. We have different duties and functions and responsibilities. And if you don't love your duty, your function, your responsibility, you're not fit to be a wife, period.
So you're telling me that a woman has to go work.
Let me ask for some dating advice from Jordan Peterson. How do you find, on that topic, the love of your life?
It's putting the cart before the horse. Here's the right question. How do I make myself into the perfect date? You answer that question.
How do you
will
make
not have
yourself
any problem
into the
answering previous
perfect
question.
date?
It's like what I want in a partner. If
That
I offered everything I
is
could to a partner, who would I
so,
be?
so good.
You work on that. Ask that question.
Work
Just
on
ask.
yourself.
Just ask yourself. Okay.
If
I have to be the person that
would you
women
be
would want. Okay, what do they want?
the
Clean.
person
That's not a bad start. Reasonably good physical shape. So healthy, productive, generous, honest, willing to delay gratification. And then you think, well, how far am I from those things? And the answer is usually, man, it's a pretty horrible abyss separating you from that idea.
if you had a daughter,
But the harder you work on
would you want your
offering
daughter
other
to
people
date you?
what they need and want,
or a
the
person
more
like
people
you?
will line
That's
up to
the
play with
question.
Let me ask for some
Your,
dating advice.
your
from
persona,
Jordan
your
Peterson. How do
your
you
ways,
find
how you
on
are as a
that
person.
topic
Would
the
you
love
be
of
happy
your
with
life?
your daughter
It's putting the
dating
cart before
someone
the
like
horse.
you?
Here's the right question.
If not,
How
then
do I
change.
make myself into the
Become
perfect
better.
date? You answer that question.
Make yourself
and
into
you
a
will
man
not have any
willing
problem answering the previous
to have a
question.
wife.
It's like what I want in a partner. If I offered everything I could to a partner, who would I be? You work
Be
on
an
that.
asset.
Ask that question. Just ask. Just ask yourself. Okay.
Be a man of
I have to
integrity,
be
of
the
honor.
person that women
Have
would
some
want. Okay, what do they want? Clean. That's not a bad
strength,
start. Reasonably
courage,
good physical
brain.
shape. So healthy, productive, generous, honest, willing to delay.
There's 10,000 times more going on inside the head of a man than you have any idea. He's carrying burdens that you don't have a clue about. And he figures if he puts it out there and communicates it, he's just going to be shot down, called a fool, called weak. So he carries it inside. And you have no clue the burdens and the hell that most men are carrying inside and not even showing you.
How do you like coaching? Do you like it?
No,
Stressful?
I don't like wrestling.
How you doing?
But I have to be here. It's like, it's gonna be a very big night for us, 18 January, again fight, Omar for the title, Islam defending his title. So I cannot be, like, I have to be here, but I don't like it.
How do you like coaching? Do you like it?
No.
Something bad about.
Be the guy who embraces the ugly, the miserable. Be the guy who embraces hard work, the grind. Don't be afraid of being hurt. Don't be afraid of sacrificing some blood. Be the guy who...
Women come and lead with fit.
A man matures through early mornings, late nights, pain, losses, disrespect, disappointments, deep reflection, and moments of loneliness with just you and God. Age has very little to do with it, as you can meet a man who's 23 and a boy who's 35. Because always remember, it's the days that break a man, which are the days that make a man. A man matures through early mornings.
little boy who
First, everything.
I've paid for sex before. I've slept with. I will not say I've slept with prostitutes because I would not denigrate those women with that term. I prostituted them. I participated in sin. I objectified them. So keen to worship at false altars that I allowed myself and other people to be denigrated. I desecrated his code. The one word that hit me so hard in Corinthians, when Paul says to them, did you not know that your body is a temple? It's the did you not know that gets me. Did you not know that your body is a temple?
Sure.
Did no one tell you that it's sacred, that you are beautiful? You can't have known, otherwise you wouldn't live like that. You can't have known that you are loved, so loved, that he would do that for you. He did that for us. Let's not carry on doing the stuff that you got nailed up there for. Did you not know that your body is a temple? I've paid for sex before.
If you just worked out and actually were proud of your body at its purest form, naked in the mirror, you would have the highest level of confidence that no Rolex, no Ferrari can buy, because when you're driving in the Ferrari, you're literally borrowing the credibility of that car.
Nothing really bad.
Bro, why you always smiling?
Because I'm alive and I'm free.
But you broke though.
I ain't broke, I'm fucked up. As long as I'm alive and I'm free, I can figure out how to get me some money. Now, if I was dead or in jail, then I'd be broke.
"2021 broke me. 2022. Open my eyes. I'm coming back. 2020."
Round. There is no strong evidence that young men are turning against gender equality, but they have turned away from the left because the left has turned away from them. The problems of young men are not the confections of reactionaries. This is the story of elite neglect,
the
not voter
left
chauvinism.
turned away from
At worst,
them.
men are seen as not having
What?
problems, but as
What
being
a
the
quote,
problem.
Chris
Men
Wood.
aren't seen as having
Coming
problems,
through with the
but as being
facts.
the problem.
Coming
Suicide
through
rates
with the
among men
facts.
under 30 have risen
Come
by
on.
40% since 2010 and
Sure.
are 4 times higher than among young women.
That's
Male
crazy.
suicide accounts for as many.
You seem to, every fight, once it gets past 6 or 7 rounds, you seem to find another level, another gear. How is it that the second half of every fight, you get better, you get faster, you get stronger?
I don't know, maybe I'm training. Good prepared. My wife helped me. My children, listen, today for me it's a very happy day because my both guys, my sons today win competition too in the judo. My son Kirill, my son Mikhail take judo belt, orange and green. My son talked to me, hey, Papa, you next. I say, okay, I'm trying.
You seem to, every fight, once again...
My dad was a bad alcoholic. Your dad was a bad alcoholic. Right. I got to be, as a lot of children of alcoholics,
Men aren't seen as having problems, but as being the problem. Suicide rates among seen as having problems, but as being the problem. Suicide rates among men under 30 have risen by 40% since 2010 and are 4 times higher than among young women. Male suicide accounts for as many deaths as breast.
You relax on a bus when you don't know the driver. You relax on a plane when you don't know the pilot. And you relax on a ship when you don't know the captain. So why don't you relax in life when you know that God is in control?
Whew.
Just keep that in mind.
Nice. I like it. I like it.
I hated every day of training.
Ooh, me too.
But if it meant
spending the rest of my life as champion, then I'll do it all over again. Until you reach
Yeah.
this level.
That's what it's
pure
about. Keep going.
That nobody else can eat.
Go through the pain. Go through the
Never
pain.
being a champion feels like. I hated every day of training. But if
I think it's over.
In here, you think it's over, or in here, you think it's over?
In my head.
What does this say?
It would never be over.
even if you don't want to, go back and sit with your father. If you have that ability. Because whether you want to or not, you're gonna learn something. And so I learned everything. And what I learned the most, Lewis, is I don't want to be like you. Not when it comes to being a father, right? As a man, I laugh with you all day. Me and you cool. But when it comes to being a father, me and you are totally opposite. Because I don't know what missing one of my children's birthdays, graduations feel like. Every birth I'm there, cutting a bill. Yeah, like, it's just certain things. As a man, I could not imagine me not being there for my kids. And so that was the things that I think I learned over the years of not having a father. I think my kids are privileged to have me simply because of what I didn't have. Yeah. Even if you don't want to.
This morning, 4 college wrestlers, after perhaps their toughest match, going toe-to-toe with a grizzly bear.
I just knew I had to protect my head and just kind of fight for life, you know, it's life or death.
Northwest College students Braden Lowry, Kendall Cummings, August Harrison, and Orrin Jackson were searching for fallen antlers in Wyoming's Shoshone National Forest on Saturday when all of a sudden Lowry and Cummings came face to face with the bear. The bear pounced, tackling Lowry first.
The bear came running out of the trees. I didn't even see it until it was right in front of me, but I heard the crashing, and the only thing I could yell is, "Bear, bear!"
What is something or some things that you aren't good at?
Shit, opening up to people.
And is that you saying publicly, or you saying women, or are you saying just in general?
Just publicly. Even in general, you know what I'm saying? Like, it take a lot for me to open up.
And why is that?
Just because, like, the way I'm used to living, just to be open was just always just ain't what you do.
Does that bring struggles in personal relationships?
In a way, yes. And I mean, like, personal relationships, because I only could think of a girl. I don't want to be opening up to no nigga. You can't show a nigga where you weak at. That's where they beat you at. That's how I think. Yeah, even friends. You know what I'm saying? It's like humans, period. Whether we friends or not, it's like if you show somebody your weaknesses, that's what they play on. Whether they your friends or not, whether they do it, it's like, I don't even know if that's just part of human nature or what, but like, study that type shit, and that's what I see. And that could f me up in relationships and shit, but I'd rather it be like that.
Mentality of greatness. They had no brakes. I hate to tell people that, because today's time, everybody wants it fast. You can be popular, but to be great,
Do your son compete jiu-jitsu, sambo? No.
They train.
They train.
No competition.
No competition? My oldest.
But they have to be strong. They train.
Yeah.
They train. But no competition.
That's good.
Gymnastics.
Really?
No martial arts. I know how to fight. I'm gonna protect. They don't need to fight.
Is there anything you've ever failed at?
Yeah. Like most people at true friendship, right?
What is that?
How many people you know married and divorced?
Oh.
How many times you been with somebody that you thought would be with you?
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? So without even having the penalty of being married and then being divorced, when that person is not the person for you, then that's where you fell.
Is there anything you've ever failed at?
Yeah.
Work hard. Be somebody. Be something more than what you see in the mirror. Let the world be your mirror. Don't let them judge you, because the mirror can't judge you. You judge what you see in the mirror. Work hard.
If you're an agreeable person, and that means you're fundamentally compassionate and caring, you don't like conflict, you like to put other people at ease, you're likely to go along to get along. Now, the problem with being a caring person is that, of that sort, an agreeable person, is that you don't like conflict, you're going to always assume the best of others, and it's going to be difficult for you to say no.
It's
when
the
you
Two
need to
Flick
say
Show.
no. And what no means,
I will be
by the
back
way,
live
just so that
tomorrow, so
everyone
make sure
who
you
is listening is clear,
subscribe, like,
no, when
share.
you say it to
I
someone
appreciate you guys. And
if you
final
don't
quote:
stop doing that,
2025 is
something
going to
you
be
do
our
not
year.
like
We're going to
will
do
happen
great.
to you with
We're going to be great.
100% certainty.
Don't lose hope.
That's what no
Don't
means.
give
If you
up.
dare utter it,
Keep going.
it's useful to develop that
Two
side of your
Flick Show.
character, to the part that
I
can
am
bite back
out.
when bitten. Not more than necessary, but certainly.